Hello, hello. Do let me know if you can hear me, my guys. I thought I'd jump on, do a bit of a stream. I was contemplating doing a video, but I don't know. The market has just let us go, hasn't it? It's gone into a little bit of turmoil, a little bit of chaos. S&P down 1.38%. We had our beautiful friend Jerome Powell speaking, held the rates, kind of expected. We know it was always going to be the excuse, and I'm calling it an excuse. Iran conflict, spiking oil prices. It's quite funny that Trump calls him too late. But yeah, I thought I'd jump on today and we'll have a bit of a chat, not only just about eVTOLs, but about any stock you want to speak about. We call this the Market Prep Show. We started it on Sunday, and yeah, feel free to steer the stream as we go along. I'm looking now. You're going to see me just keep gazing down because I'm still in awe about everything that's happened. Archer has just held that $6 range, 601. One of the guys in the comments did say to me, could we see it go below $6? There seems to be a loads of resistance there. I didn't answer him because I thought I'd and have a speak about it. The short answer is yes, we can go well below $6. Resistance is there, but at the same time, there's nothing great holding it up at the moment. It feels like we can't get any good news out. Like myself, Dylan, and Goat were speaking yesterday after the podcast, and we're like, what news actually does move this stock? Now, we will speak. Rocket Lab got a contract with the Department of War. We'll cover that as well. And then any of you that are interested in eVTOLs, we can see how this ties into the eVTOLs and see how much the likes of these contracts do go for. Yes, we are speaking about rockets compared to hybrid vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, but you can sort of draw a parallel how much the Department of War is willing to spend on their vehicles. Another interesting one, Horizon Aircraft. Something's happening there, you know. It feels like if you want to make your money, I always used to say Horizon Aircraft is risky, but if you want to save money in a bear market, put it into Horizon Aircraft because it's all in the hands of the retail investor. Horizon Aircraft still holding that 180. You've heard me say about why Horizon Aircraft is a buy anything under 180. It's because the resistance level at 180 is immense. We're not dropping below it. Now, you watch tomorrow, we probably will, but the whole market's tanking. Will we end up green tomorrow? Potentially. You'll notice any time Paul speaks, normally if it's bad news, market oversells. Next day, there's a bit of a rebound. I've never been brave enough to attempt trade in the meetings, but I don't know. It could be a nice little learner if you're brave enough to do it. I know Dylan was looking at options for Archer Aviation. Any of you guys buying any leaps for Archer? It's quite an interesting time now. If you really believe in Archer Aviation, some of them leaps are going pretty nicely. Do let me know what stock you want us to cover. I will go across the market. Rocket Lab is down minus 11.59%. They had a dilution event. They done a raise of $1 billion. But again, $1 billion to Rocket Lab is way different than $1 billion raise for Joby Aviation. Rocket Lab then came out today and secured their biggest ever launch deal. It was for a 20 HASTE rockets. So that's the hypersonic accelerator suborbital test Electron. I can bring it up on the screen here if you want, but really 190 million for 20 of them. That is It's under the mark TB 2.0 task area 1 led by Kratos Defense. How bullish are you on Kratos? I know I should have listened to Francisco when myself and Francisco were playing around with Redwire. He was always telling me to get into Kratos, and Kratos has completely pushed forward. Now's not the right time to get into Kratos. You're in the middle of conflict, but anything before February, if you got into the whole defensive sector before February, I wouldn't go trading anything in defense right now. I think I've said it on Sunday, if you want to make money on this conflict, and it's so bad to say, but money is made during wars, but I wouldn't be going into the defensive sector. Everyone would be telling you to go to the defense because there's just revenue left, right, and center. But what happens when the conflict ends? And we don't have a projection on when it's ending. Look, with boots on the ground, we can see it pushing back a lot further than we originally anticipated. But at the same time, I think it's all priced in at the moment. And I think you'll be left holding the bag if you're jumping straight into defense. Look, if you're just adding to your position, you're bullish on the companies, 100%. But if I started jumping into defense now, I think it'd be a silly move for me. I've my defense exposure with RKLB, and then we can say we're touching it with Archer and Joby Aviation. Pinot Grigio says Market Watch is saying the S&P might lose its 200-day moving average tomorrow. If it loses its 200-day moving average, it's gonna be a long day, my guys. Do you know what I actually bought today? I bought the subscription for Gainify, and I'm still trying to work out how to use it. But it is quite a nice little reviewing tool. So any of you that have no software that you do use to review your stocks, your balance sheets, etc., Gainify is quite good. You don't have to pay for it. You can get the free version. The only reason I got the paid version is because you can look at the outlooks up on 3 years, 5 years, etc. Tell me if any of you do use it. Eric, what is your average cost per share in Joby and Archer? I'll have to get that up for you. It's not actually as low as many of you think. Dylan is much lower than me. I'll get it for you. I'm nearly certain Archer is 741. Archer 742. Archer 742 and Joby 851. That's my cost average on the two of them. Do let me know, Eric, what's your average on both of them? I think everyone expects me to always say I'm in the $3 range with Archer. No, I was buying it early on, but I have been buying. And yeah, you can say I got caught my pants down buying close to the all-time high. I believe in the company. I put up today that in Adam we trust. That wasn't a clickbait post. Many thought it was. But I genuinely do trust Adam. I think that all the puzzle pieces are starting to come together. There's a few things as it went through, like when Hawthorne Airport first got announced. You've seen me live go mad about it. I didn't know what it was about, but then when we start tying all the pieces in together, I think NVIDIA, Palantir, Starlink is a slept-on opportunity. We can't forget about Anduril. We can talk about Anduril and the whole conflict, but I don't really want to turn this into a whole Archer Aviation podcast either. How do you guys feel about Beta Technologies? That's another one. The only thing I'm worried about Beta, and it's my whole worry for the last while, was the lock-in period with Beta Technologies. Since the lock-in period ends, I think you're going to get a mass sell-off. And that's not because Beta's a bad company, but I just don't go near IPOs for time. I let her balance out. That look, we're down 50%. I actually had a bit of a row with someone on X earlier they were trying to bait me out for saying that Archer Aviation is down from its all-time high. I said the whole sector is down about 50%. If we look at Joby, Archer, Horizon Aircraft, Beta Technologies, Vertical Aerospace, we're all down around 50% from our all-time high. And he came back to me and said that Joby Aviation is 50% up on the last year and Archer is down 25%. But I went back and said, look, I didn't put a post up comparing the two. And if we really, really want to go there, we're down 50% from the all-time high. It doesn't matter how you beat around the bush. If you cross the road, do a roly-poly, stand upside down and turn around, we're down 50% from the all-time high. So it doesn't matter how you got there, that's where you are. Now, Joby Aviation seems to be pushing forward. The only thing I don't like about Joby Aviation at the moment seems like they're pushing a lot of marketing like to their website and to selling of their stocks. Now look, everyone's got to make money, but I seen even celebrating a little marketing win. Joby's new website is website of the day, a site that really matters. Like, I don't really care about that as an investor. The socks. Now, to be fair, the socks, they are sending me socks, so I can't say nothing. Big shout out to Joby. Did we expect Joby to get much more states than Archer in the EIPP? That actually did surprise me how much of a gap there was. I thought Joby definitely would get more of a push than Archer, but I didn't think the gap would be that big. And then Beta Technologies, we're speaking about the firm order with Beta Technologies. And the thing that's starting to confuse me across this whole sector now is with Beta, if they can actually confirm a firm order, well, then why can't the other companies get firm orders? Now, I know it's for the eVTOL Alia, but if I was Adam or I was Joe Ben, I would be saying, well, these boys got firm orders. Why are we only getting memorandums of understanding? And Archer especially, I'm like, if that's your business model, that you're going selling the aircraft, you need to be pursuing them firm orders, especially when the Midnight is now gone through the whole eVTOL envelope. And anyone that doesn't know what eVTOL is, the conventional takeoff and landing. I don't know. AMPX. So Amprius Technologies, guys, anyone interested in battery technology? Did get a nice push after earnings. But look, over the last month, it is up 90%. Myself and Dylan, no, to be fair, Dylan is in on it. And Goat's in on it. I was the man that was left behind here. So, shame on me. But yeah, we're up 90%. And I'm not one for jumping in on any company that has pushed 90% in the last month. I think that would be a silly, silly plan. But we were aiming at trying to get in at around $12.50. I'm telling a lie, $11 to $12, and then I have pushed it to like $12.50, and now I'm starting to think like $13-14 is looking quite tasty. But look, it's still $18.90 at the moment, and it seems to be holding that level even with the bit of the sell-off today across the market. Amprius is pushing forward. But the only thing about it is, someone did open my eyes to this. Let me use my new Gainify, guys. Revenue. Let me double check what the revenue for them is. Yeah, so over the last quarter, the revenue was 73 million. Now looking at it, they're a 2.59 billion market cap company and pushing forward. I'm not a madman for analysts, but analysts are saying the price target is $20. Price to revenue is 2106. And for anyone that doesn't know what the likes of price to revenue is, it's the amount you're willing to pay per dollar of investment for each, or the amount you're willing to pay for investment for every dollar of revenue that they generate. So for every dollar they make, you're spending 21.06. Cairo says, just buy and sleeping like a baby. Why are you buying Archer, I presume, is it, my guy? Guys, do you know what? Let's actually use this as a brainstorming plan. And I actually might bring a few of them up on the screen. Do jump in. Let me know what stocks you would like us to start reviewing. And actually, what would be quite interesting, we will not be offended, but what stocks you want reviewed and who you want to review them. So do you want myself to review them? Do you want Dylan to review them? Do you want Goat Games to review them? Now, look, I haven't ran this by Goat or Dylan, but I'm sure they're willing to get on board with this. We could even start creating a series on different stocks that people are excited about. I'm working on a series about Amprius here. Anyone invested in Eos? They're starting to confuse me a little bit, and I know many people are bullish on them, but I did get information that their management isn't the best. Now, this is only coming off the top of my head. It was in a passing comment with someone. They mentioned that their management wasn't the best, but I can look into EOS and see where that's going. Love Me Donuts says, hey, first time joining. Do smash that subscribe button. Help us get that clock rolling up on the top corner of the screen. Nearly at 5,000. We're going to start pushing forward. Closer we get to that 5,000, I really want to get Adam and I really want to get Joe Ben in for an interview. And then I've been speaking to Francisco as well. So any of you guys that are interested in Rocket Lab, you remember I used to do daily streams on Rocket Lab. So I used to do Rocket Lab daily. And then it felt like the eVTOL side was falling apart. It felt like I was letting people down. So I went back to the eVTOLs and Rocket Lab kind of fell through. Oh, things have changed. I have a lot more time in my hands to create content. So we're thinking of doing a Rocket Lab podcast once a week. I can't promise to go back to daily streams with Rocket Lab, but potentially. Go. I would love to see Adam and Job in the show. Actually, guys, do follow Goat Gains on X. He is doing a very impressive project. I'm not going to let you know what it is, but a very, very impressive project when it comes to Archer Aviation. He'll let you know sooner to the time what it is, but trust me, this is something I don't even think the Hustle brothers together could pull it off. So I'm really impressed with what Goat Gains is doing. So guys, do jump in and give him a follow on X. Where am I based out of? I am based out of the west coast of Ireland. Now, I'm not going to give away my actual location, and I'll tell you why. Because we had Goat Gains had the same guy. We had some guy on X calling me out, and then he sent my location, my actual location. He was more or less sent a CV to me. I had to go through everything. I've locked down the likes of Facebook, etc. Well, I don't use Facebook, but LinkedIn, I feel, is where he leaked it from. Now, the problem is he put out information on X that is very, I don't know, it's confidential, isn't it? I ain't shared that on X. And then he put, do you still work for such and such? No, I signed a contract with such and such. And it was to not basically say where I'm working. So if I was still working there, I may have lost my job. But no, I'm a full-time farmer now. I went full-time farming. And yeah, so it didn't expose me too much, but it was kind of scary. Do you know when you put yourself out there? I've been doing this for, 2.5 years now. Videos every day. And when you get people sending you your location, especially when I know this guy is US based, I'm like, yeah, that's a bit scary. Imagine him knocking on my door. I'd be like hogtied going out the door. I'm a big man now, yeah. I'm like 6'2", and I'm not the lightest of fellas, so you'd have a good job to take me out. But look, go. Thank you for keeping the secret, man. Go. It's a brotherhood, as I've said. That is your gig, and anything we can do to help you along the way, feel free. Do you know what? Go. Actually, you should make a YouTube channel as well. I think that'd be quite good, especially when you're doing a project like that. I think that would be quite cool, and we could help push you out. Fair enough, scary enough. Was wondering if you're familiar with the Canadian market. So, the only Canadian stock I do cover normally is Horizon Aircraft. However, I know one of the guys was asking us to look at Kraken Robotics. I did have a quick look at Kraken Robotics. Let me bring them up here. Is anyone invested in Kraken, by the way? They're not on the NASDAQ, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, so the only thing that's difficult for me is the market cap is 2.57 billion, but that is Canadian dollars. Now, I'd have to convert everything back down to US dollars for the majority of the audience to understand. But, love me donuts, if you have a stock you want reviewed from the Canadian market, do fire it across to me. I'll do my best for you. Like, what's up, Liam? Big shout out, my guy. You're always here. I love the support, and I love how I feel like I know you guys personally. I genuinely do, because you guys show up every day. We seem to have back and forward. I love it. But yeah, no one's actually jumped in and said what stock they want reviewed. Cairo's still adding HOVR. I haven't actually added since them two buys I pull up on X. Tomorrow could be the day, and it could be the day I go in quite heavy for Horizon Aircraft, because I'm expecting us to touch below that 180. I think we will hold that 180. There's no reason why. I think the retail holding of Horizon far outweighs the institute. So you guys seem like a this sounds bad to say, but it's a bit of a cult, isn't it? You guys do hold the stock up quite nicely. I said at the start of the stream, I've been calling Horizon Aircraft risky, but through this market, it looks like it's the safest stock to be in. Dyke says Ondas. I actually want to get Chris on board for an Ondas podcast. Chris does have a very busy life, though, so I will try and get Chris involved in an Ondas, and I know he's been interviewing quite a few CEOs recently. So do follow Vast CNC. Ondas now is sitting at 4.42 billion. They did get a partnership with Palantir there last week, but it feels like every second day Ondas are getting another contract. Am I wrong? Because it feels like it, and I know they did acquire another company. Let me quickly. I'm not in on this, but I like to keep an eye on them. I'll find it here and then we'll get to it. Yeah, I'll find it in 2 seconds. Cairo says, I have over 15 years of aviation maintenance experience. HOVR and Archer looks like easy money on the maintenance side for me. I think that's a slept on opportunity. We actually said the way that Archer and Horizon Aircraft are planning their business model to actually sell the aircraft, people are forgetting that they have to maintain them aircraft. And who's going to maintain it? It's going to be the supply. And they're going to have to train the pilots. So pilot training could be enough, a little nice bit of revenue. The only problem is, I think the long-term vision when it comes to pilots is fully autonomous. So it is an interesting one. Like I said, yes, defense drones, not many out there, but Ondas. Do you invest in unusual machines, UMAC? Like, I know Chris does speak about UMAC as well. There's actually a guy on ACHR. I put a post up about UMAC and he said I'm the first. He puts me up every week that I was the first one to call it. It wasn't me that called it. It was Vasi and C. Look, I could take the credit, but no, it wasn't me that called it. I just put up a post about it and he must have just seen my post first. But fair play to the guy, but he's giving credit to the wrong person. But yeah, on that, one thing that seems quite interesting for me is, aren't they mapping out the likes of railroads as well? And they also do like counter surveillance for not only during like times of conflict like this, but counter surveillance during like big crowded get-togethers. Am I right with Ondas as well? They have like a net firing system where they don't actually use live ammunition. They just physically take down a separate drone. Dyke says, I feel Archer will get heavy in defense sector for the need. UMAC, no, I almost did back when I went into Ondas. Yeah, UMAC has been on my radar, but again, drones, I haven't fired into yet. Guys, do smash that like button. Oh, here we go. Refineries, sporting arenas, railroads, AI. They seem to have fingers in every pie, don't they? Let me actually put up a poll. Rolly de Rody, good morning, Liam. Archer DCA. Have you changed your name? You definitely have changed your name. I'm nearly certain. I thought you were like Rolly Dublin or something. But yeah, DCA Archer. A question is for you guys. No, this sounds really bearish, and I don't mean it to come across that way. But is there a point with Archer Aviation where you just sit and hold tight? Or are you guys that bullish on Archer that you will keep adding, whether we go down into the $5, whether we go down into the $4? Because I'm starting to look at the moment, we're looking like we're in such a downtrend, and it's like, if this does continue, we could keep DCAing, but I am quite happy with my position at the moment. And do I then wait for it to go down a little bit further to then overexpose myself in Archer? Because I don't want to overweight my portfolio in Archer Aviation at the same time. I'm extremely bullish on them. $3, Cairo saying. Yeah, do you know what? I remember Rocket Lab. This was August the 1st, 24. I remember it went down to 298 on the day. It didn't close at 298, but it went down to 298. No, I wasn't on the markets that day. And I do kick myself thinking back on how much Rocket Lab I could have bought. But then thinking about it, when a stock goes down towards 298 and you've been holding it in the 4s and the 5s and the 6s and the 7s, 8s, when it gets down to 298, it does get scary. Like, if you look at Vertical Aerospace at the moment, what's their market cap? Like, it must be less than 380 million now. And the worry with Vertical Aerospace, they're gone into such a spiral that the volume is so low that institutes aren't going to go in and save them. Because if you think about it, institutes will only go in if there's volatility in the stock. They need to be able to get in and out. So if no one's buying or no one's selling, they're not going to touch it because they'll be afraid that they won't be able to get out in time. So the only thing that can help vertical aerospace now is volume. Now, the problem is retail aren't going to be jumping into vertical aerospace because we're just somersaulting downwards. And I just think it's a long day for them. Now, we were speaking yesterday, it was actually Goat brought it up in the Archer podcast that we've seen Archer go into Bristol. Could we see an acquisition? Archer have 2 billion on the balance sheet. Well, around 2 billion. So they could go in and swoop them up for about a quarter of it. They can more or less take the VX4 data, the project, and then just nick Velo. Velo looks like midnight anyway. You'd run that lawsuit out of the ground, and everyone's happy. I wouldn't mind them acquiring vertical aerospace. Now, I did say, we had a question yesterday, if you had the $2 billion, what would you spend it on? And I think what we need to think is not $2 billion. I'm calling it $1 billion because none of these companies, Archer and Joby, will go below that $1 billion because they'll just dilute again. So I call it $1 billion of money to play with, and anything that goes over that $1 billion and starts cutting into the $1 billion that they would have left remaining, that is more or less for the business to survive. Keep adding, maybe not every extra penny, but add at times when down. Do you know what? It's a long day thinking of it. Like, mentioned at the start with Pinot Grigio, when MarketWatch said that the S&P might lose its 200-day moving average. If it loses it, I think we're in for a hell of pain in all these stocks, you know. I don't think it's over yet. But then, out of nowhere, RKLB got that 190 million contract with the Department of War. And we said how these types of things will start escalating now. And if Archer Joby get a contract, and it'll be through Andrew or through L3 Harris, they could do with, if it was a 190 million contract, well, they might get 80 million of it or so. But all revenue is better than no revenue. Yes, a bit like you didn't want to give away my location. That's the thing. Do you know what? That was scary, my guy. And do you know what the problem is? The difference between Ireland and the US, they have that amendment where they have free speech. And I think sometimes people overstep that. There's a difference between free speech and giving away someone's location, because that is a threat, especially the way it was worded to me. So he was trying to claim free speech, but if you're going taking someone's personal information and sharing it for others to harass them, that's not free speech. But yeah, good job. The only stock I have in the green is in the green. Oh, you bought. Okay, I get what you mean. Archer, Kratos, and Palantir. I thought you meant they were green. You must have been in Archer pretty early. I admire that. Big shout out for staying strong. Palantir's one I wish I did get in. I remember myself and Reese were covering it at, I think it was $6, or is it $6.50? But I didn't understand it. And I just have this philosophy: if I don't understand, I just can't sleep and I don't feel comfortable. But anyone that was in Palantir, you know what it's like to make hay when the sun shines. Kratos, another great one. Kratos, big shout out to Francisco. He tried to get me into Kratos was about a year and a half ago. I should have followed them. If I remember, where was it a year ago? Yeah. It was around $30. So you've literally 3x your money in a year. That is wild. And the thing is, like, from its all-time high was 132. You're doing well, my guy. We need to meet up. We need to have a chat. What do you think about Zeta? Let me have a look. Go. I must give you the sign in to this Gainify. It looks pretty good. So, what is it? Operates an omni-channel data-driven cloud platform that provides enterprises with consumer intelligence and marketing automation software in the United States and internationally. What are we saying? 4.2 billion market cap. Price to earnings is 1909. Where have we been? Are you in Zeta? Go. I realize I'm not sharing my screen here. I'll be 2 seconds. Go. I might actually do a video on them. They're up 24% over the year. Their chart looks pretty tasty. 8.71% over the month. Analyst price target's been raised to 30. I don't really take too much from that. Ooh. EPS estimate of 0.23 and actual 0.37, so it's a beat by 58.13%. They look good. Let me do a review on Zeta for you. Go. Do you know what? Go. If you want to be in the video, you can as well. I don't have a stock I like as much as Archer. I wish I could diversify, but I just don't like anyone else. Oh well, maybe it'll look like. Do you know what? I genuinely think as you're trying to build extreme wealth, this is, you've heard me say this many times. I actually think concentration is the best in high conviction plays. I think you can over diversify. There's no point diversifying when you have, what are we going to say, X amount, and you want to make it 20x, 30x. There's no point being extremely diverse. And I think some people diverse for the sake of diversification because they will overweight their portfolio on the stocks that they really like, and then they might throw in a bit of Amazon and they might throw in a bit of Google and then say, I'm diverse. So it is what it is. Kyra says, just call the lawyer, play the retainer fee. What's that for, my guy? My first Archer buy was 193 years ago. You've been in it for the long haul. You're in for some big money, my guy. I genuinely think we're going to get a contract pretty soon with the Department of War. I think that's what Archer are primarily focused on. I think commercialization is going to take a back foot, especially during this whole Iranian conflict. I think that was the get all jail free for both Archer and Joby, because I genuinely think that EIPP is taking the forefront for both Archer and Joby. I think until we run EIPP to conclusion, I don't think we will see mass rollout. We may see 10s, 20s before EIPP, but I think mass rollout happens after EIPP. Cairo says, for the people who are asking you, the problem is, I don't know where they live. I know they live in the US, but you guys are different than over here. If I'm in Ireland and say Rolly was harassing me, I could go to a solicitor here and I am 4 hours from him, and he would be able to deal with that. But the problem in the US is different states, and because I'm then not a US citizen, it makes it even harder. Do you know what? We're gonna forget about that guy. We've blocked him on X. I actually blocked his whole follow list because, isn't it go? He had like 4 or 5 accounts, and he just kept harassing like mad. Then he managed to get onto YouTube yesterday. I managed to bait him out to comment on YouTube. 3 different accounts, and I recognized him from X and that band. So, do you know what? Myself and Goat were saying, love us or hate us, you're looking us up. So, it is what it is. If he hates us that much that he's looking us up to watch us, let him be him. Go. It's proper decent, isn't it? 193 years ago. That's a believer. That's the kind of guy we need in our crew. Well, Saddles sold earlier this week and last week left 40%, plan on adding all it back, 40% more in May. This is Beta Technologies we are speaking about here. Go down. The industry is only going up long term, in my opinion. And you know what? That's an interesting stance you're taking there. You've left 40% in, so I don't know how big your position is. I don't want to know, so don't feel the need to put it in. But if 40% is quite a substantial amount of money, you're actually in a safe place. If it does run, you're still going to make money. But at the same time, if I can see what you're doing with Beta Technologies, like, I think it's going to be a long day for them once the lock-in period is over. So I think you are safer doing what you're doing. Not financial advice, but even if it runs the other way, look, I sort of have an idea of the range you bought into, so I think you're doing well. Peter is the best by far. Sean says, bro, AMPX is a beast. Any of you guys that were in them before that big run? And I can't see it stopping anytime soon. I'm actually gutted I'm not in, but I don't want to just jump in for the sake of it. I was saying to Dylan, do I just throw like $1,000 into it, just have skin in the game, and like give me an incentive to actually make videos on them? But I'm actually quite excited about what they're doing, so I don't think I need any sort of skin in the game to cover them. But at the same time, it would be nice to be in there. But yeah, I did say earlier on, I have changed my buy range from $11 to $12 to, I'm getting greedy now, so I'm going to say if we go anywhere near 14. But look, this is what happened with Palantir. Palantir ran, and that's all that happened. If you're waiting for it to do an extreme pullback, Gold sold AMPX at 14 2 weeks ago. But where you had AMPX at, if I remember, you made some run, didn't you? I can't remember off the top of my head. Do let us know what you bought in at, but I'm pretty sure you more than 2x'd it anyway. Ray doesn't like Zeta. You were in it the day I've eventually finally sold Zeta for only 0.5 more than I paid for it. I was determined to not sell for a loss, even though I felt I was stuck in prison. That's an interesting, it's like the sunk cost fallacy, you know? So I'm a man, you've heard me say it many times, I don't like selling things at a loss. However, Redwire, my Redwire example. So Redwire, myself and Francisco were buying and selling Redwire. It would go down to like 15 and we'd sell it again at 20. And we'd done that 3 or 4 times. But then we started getting greedy. And I think my last buy was in 14 something. And we went down. And I think today we're at $9. But that doesn't sound too bad. But we went all the way down to $5. And it was the sunk cost fallacy. It was, I didn't want to sell because I realized how much I had in it. But then at the same time, I was like, the opportunity that was being missed, I should have sold out sooner. Now, I did get out of Redwire, but this is another funny thing. They're actually starting to do bits now, and I'm starting to think of, do I jump back into Redwire? And the thing is, even if I jump back in, if they run back to where I originally bought it, I'll make 50%. So I'm in two minds. Now, I did throw most of my Redwire into Archer and Tesla. And it's gone the other way. So I don't know what to suggest with when stocks are absolutely tanking on you, but you could say it with Archer at the moment, but I just believe in Archer so much. I wouldn't sell Archer now. Genuinely, it would pain me to know that someone sold Archer, but at the same time, we get accused of pumping Archer all the time, so I'm genuinely not going to be too bothered whether people buy or sell. Archer's strength is Anduril. I don't think it's its only strength, but I do think it's one of the key areas that they are strong in. I think they are superior than Joby on the defense side, but Joby outweighed them on the commercial side at the moment. I just like what they've done, and we've said where there's a pullback, such as in the UAE, we've seen like the F1 get cancelled in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. So we definitely ain't going to get any flights in any of them countries in the UAE. But where there's a pullback, there's an opportunity, and Archer have a great opportunity under Archer Defense. I keep calling them Archer Defense, but they don't even call them Archer Defense anymore. They changed it just to Archer again. So it was like they were lining up to be a separate entity, and then they've pulled them back in. I don't know. You'll get what I mean. If you look up Archer Defense, you go into the website, it'll say Archer Defense, then it quickly changes back to Archer. Dyke says 100% Palmer. Look, he has 20 billion basically in his own bank. I'm 100% sure he plans with Archer. Palmer's the CEO of Anduril. I don't know. I've heard it a few times. Could Anduril buy out Archer? They could, but it's an expensive business to buy just for the defensive side, because the majority of what they do is, we can't forget it, is commercial. And I can't see why Anduril want to run a commercial airliner. Could be wrong, but I can't see why they'd want to do that. I think what they've got at the moment with that partnership, and not only with the building of the hybrid VTOL, but Adam seems pretty happy to jump on board with licensing out the likes of the powertrain. I think a lot more of them are going to come. Let me actually say this. Archer Aviation will get a defensive contract with Japan soon, or there'll be something with Japan soon. I can't say how I know that, but I don't know it, but I'm pretty sure they're working on something with Japan. You can read between the lines there. Palmer just received this from the US government. AMPX is a beast. I'm completely gone past. This is a long-term investment with compound. Needs to get in on the cheap. My best move on these stocks has been in selling at the beginning of each drop. I took a hit, but it would have been bigger. The only thing would be, are you a little bit too early, especially around IPO time? I can see what you've done there to protect yourself, but even like, do you remember? It must have been about 4 or 5 months ago when I said Archer and Joby are extremely overvalued at the moment. We don't believe they are, but they are. And everyone, no, they're not. They'll never go. Archer will never go lower than $8 again. Joby will never go sub 10. And this is what's happened. Like, when bad news occurs, everything always returns towards its true value. And I do believe that Archer could go lower. Joby seemed to have nice resistance around that $10 range, but closed today at 950 or so. So 954 was it. So could Joby be in for a bit of pain too? Could be. Liam, you may want to rather better consider buying into a stock that's paying out serious dividends since I'm buying ARC. I'm not a dividend man. I could, yeah. I remember speaking to Matt Money when we had him on the podcast, and he done that for a long time with Pepsi. And it all depends on where you want to go, and it depends. Like Ray, I don't know how much is in your portfolio. Again, I don't care. Don't feel the need to share it. I don't want to be able to live comfortably. I'm a greedy man. I want to be able to live extremely nicely. If I sold all my RKLB tomorrow and put it into, I don't know, McDonald's, etc., I could live quite comfortably, pottering along around the farm, just get my dividends. But nah, it doesn't excite me. And I think a lot of us do this for enjoyment. I know it's a silly thing to do, but sometimes, yeah, people say like investing has to be boring, etc., like that. This is like my hobby. Look, if you go surfing, you have to outlay for a surfboard, etc. You go horse riding, you have to outlay for a horse and equipment and feed and etc. Yeah, this is my outlet. This is investing. So I'm willing to take losses and risks for my hobby too. If you get me, I don't want to lose money, but at the same time, it's price of business too, isn't it? And if you want to swim with the fishes, you better get wet sometimes. Yeah. So, Dyke says, not buy out, but send Archer more money. Oh, I get you. Yeah. I think that's on the cards. I think Department of War will be in close contact with both. I don't actually know how much involvement Adam has with getting Department of War contracts. I think that is majority down to Andrel. I think negotiations probably have already taken place on how much of a share Archer is going to get out of this. And then we actually had a nice thought yesterday. So, do you know how Midnight has been left in final assembly? How do we not know that these Midnight are not just waiting to be fitted for the military? They might not be for the commercial side at all, and we've just completely looked past it. These were always going to be for that hybrid project. I don't know. It's enough of thought. Surfer did place the firm order, and yeah, there is an option for 75. So really, like, if you took that firm order 25 out, and they have the option for 75, that's really what Archer and Joby have been getting for the last while, is them options. But this is why I'm so excited about the firm order for the 25, because they have to do it. The only thing, anyone that's invested in Joby, do let me know this. So I remember back when before Blade was acquired by Joby, Blade had a firm order with Beta for 5 Alia aircraft. I haven't seen that order be cancelled yet. And if someone has information that the order's been cancelled, do let me know. But I'm starting to think Beta still could fulfill that order, because we know that S4 won't be able to, like, is S4 just going to fulfill Blade's order, or do S4 want to go out and do its own thing under the Joby umbrella rather than the Blade umbrella? It's still Joby's anyway, if you get me, but maybe they will go for the Alia as well. It helps them. They get more of a footprint out there. Goat says Beta is my second favorite company in the eVTOL space. I don't own shares though. That's the same. I'm getting excited about Beta. No one covers Beta, do they? No, I have done a few videos on them, but like no one's that interested in them. That's why I don't cover them enough. But if people were interested in seeing videos on Beta, I'd have no problem doing it. I got wrecked by Yieldmass trying to be a dividend investor. I think there's a path for investors. It's like this dark path that we all have to walk along. We all have to experience a heavy loss. We all have to experience at some point being greedy with leverage, thinking that we are smarter than everyone else, think that we know the market. And I think becoming a dividend investor is another one. And yeah, I've done all three. But yeah, dividend investing isn't for me yet. Do you know, I read a book. I read Psychology of Money. And to get to a position of significant wealth, you need to be a risk taker. But then to hold that significant wealth, you need to be risk adverse. And how do you switch as a person from being an extreme risk taker to one day, no, I actually don't want to risk anymore. I'm just going to be risk adverse? Because we all get greedy, if you get me. And then everyone's on about taking more and more risks. I put up a post the last day because I've seen this absolute melon say people need to take more risks in the stock market. Yeah. Risking is the quickest way to $1 million. But risking it is also the quickest way to become a crackhead. And risking it is the quickest way to go to zero. So risk is a certain cog to the whole machine. But some people misread it and think risk is the biggest part. And risk is only a final four after you've done your due diligence. So remember that. Can you help me a bit more? Is it true that Joby did not buy complete Blair, but just the part of it? As I hear everyone say they bought Blair. Is this Blade we're speaking about? But somewhere it was just part of the contract. Come back to me. Are we speaking about Blade? Did I wear green yesterday? No, I didn't. I was on a stream yesterday. I wore grey off the top of my head. No, I didn't wear green for St. Patrick's Day. But you know what? The markets got the memo. The markets went green. If you look at these firm partnerships with Anduril for Archer and GE Aerospace for Beta, they're tied to some of the most prestigious companies in the world, where there's a chance to really move. I do think Archer's partnership with Anduril is a lot stronger than Joby's with L3 I don't actually think Joby want to go into that water. I think it's an aspect of the company that they're willing to improve on. But I genuinely think Joby's vision for the company is to be the Uber of the skies. They want to dominate that commercial side. That's why they have a lighter aircraft. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a completely different business model. And it could be the right way to do it. Like, we don't know. There's not many companies that go out and do this type of thing. I'm generally and also not a dividend investor yet with this one. And then as I have reason to believe in a growth range of 3x with ARC, thereafter then sell for more Archer. Could be a good one. But a 3x in how long? Look, we're talking about 3x's if they just happen as well. 3x in a growth in a dividend stock. That'd be wild. Smoke says, I'm very interested in beta and I think they can do great things. Guys, do you want me? Let me actually put up a poll. Do you want me to start doing videos on beta or do you want me to double down on what we actually do? 2 seconds, my guys. Now, I realized there I have stick to eVTOLs on that. I know Beta is an eVTOL company, but you know what I mean. Stick to Archer and Joby and a bit of Horizon Aircraft. So, sorry, yep, let me just double check. So, they didn't, is it true that Joby did not complete? So, they bought a passenger business. So, that is basically the air taxi side of the business. If I remember, Blade, are they into pharmaceuticals or are they into healthcare or something as well? But they got out of the air business anyway. So the part that interested Joby, yes, they've acquired all of that. Max, big shot on my guy. Everyone's talking about beta. Beta is hot. If I was Adam, I would be going after beta, not Archer. Is anyone interested in how close both Kyle Clark and Adam are? Adam's mentioned them a few times now, especially in that spot with Joby. And then I reposted something from about a year ago where he was commending Beta on their project. But then saying that, Adam and Joe Bin, about 18 months ago, were on stage together, all pally. So, I don't know. Is this just business and how it works? Goat Game says, risk is just fear wearing tomorrow's clothes. If you shake its hand firmly enough, it forgets why it came. Ooh. No, Liam, Kyle is best friends with Joe Ben Bever. He barely knows Adam. No, he does know Adam. I know he knows Adam. Would you like Kyle Clark to come on for an interview, guys? But I'm not downplaying. He may be quite close to Joe Ben as well. Archer did a collaboration with Beta regarding Beta's charger. What do you think of Beta's cube box that they put on the Alia? So it's basically like a portable charger. You know, we have portable chargers for our phones. They charge up this portable box and then they put it on board the aircraft. So for, say, Medivac, etc., where you need to land in a certain, I don't know, remote location and you need an extra charge, I think it, with 15 minutes, does it give them an extra 20 minute or an extra 20% battery? And could we see that be implemented across the whole eVTOL space? The only problem is, again, it's weight. And this is where AMPX come into it. I need to really think about AMPX. Adam just pretends they're friends, just like how he pretends they're friends with Trump. It's just that everyone loves Kyle. I agree, everyone does love Kyle. Adam or Max, you're speaking as if you know Adam. It does make me laugh. Beta's charger appears to be a monopoly. Do we think that, like we see with electric vehicles, eventually we'll get a universal charging system for the eVTOLs? Or do you think they will remain separate? When I mean separate, I mean like Archer and Beta and then Joby. Could be interesting. The question is, why does everyone love Kyle so much? Is he that great? Do you know what? Actually, go watch some of Beta's videos. I know they've done one at what air show it was, and they actually tell you quite a bit about the business, and you get to see Kyle. Kyle's actually a pilot as well, so he does fly the area. He actually seems like just a down-to-earth guy, but look, that doesn't get you everywhere. Kyle Clark is all business from Harvard. That's why he did an IPO, and Adam had to a SPAC. Adam knows Kyle is connected. I watched all Beta's videos several times over. I'm looking to add HOVR tomorrow at around 170 maybe. Do you think you'll go that low? I'm with you. I'd jump in quite heavy at 170, but they seem to be holding it quite strongly. Now, I do think there's some heavy resistance at 180, and I think we could start seeing a quick slip once we get under that 180. But Liam, was Beta's IPO was in November. The 6-month inside sell-off cliff is May or June. I'm not even going to look at it till then. Am I wrong? Yeah, completely agree. I think until that lock-in period is completely over. Look, you're going to get some of the private investors as well that have bought in at $1 or $2, and $15 is looking pretty tasty for them right now. So, yeah, this is what I've been saying about Beta. Incredibly good business. I love what they're doing. I think it's very interesting that they've gone down a CTOL and a VTOL version rather than, if you look at Midnight, it has the capabilities to do both. But that increases weight, where if you have a CTOL only version, you are giving it the maximum amount of range and a maximum amount of payload. And I think we're all extremely bullish on the vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, but loads of people just want either an electric or a hybrid aeroplane, basically, a CTOL vehicle. And why would they want that? Well, vertical takeoff and landing looks pretty cool and is great in certain aspects, but if you're like surf air mobility and you're just running through airports, why do you need it to vertically take off and land? Wouldn't you be better to have a better payload and better range? And surf are going through that phase at the moment where they want to start pushing more electrification, more hybridization. Zed Stacker I said F it and bought 2,000 shares of Horizon. I want 80k. Zed Stacker, you are definitely the biggest shareholder in Horizon Aircraft I know. And you are going to be extremely wealthy if we get anywhere close. I see loads of the analysts are now saying $8. So I think I'm pretty nice. I think I said 670 by end of the year, didn't I? So what was your price target for Horizon Aircraft? Do let me know. And then everyone keeps saying about Bombardier and Horizon Aircraft, and then we were speaking, myself and Dylan, that for Bombardier to buy Horizon Aircraft, it'd probably go up towards the $5 to $10 range before any sort of acquisition would even take place. And even that, like, is a massive run. And then Zed Stacker, here's an interesting one. If they got acquired by the likes of Bombardier, would you convert your shares to Bombardier or would you just get out? Because it's a completely different business owning Bombardier with the ability to have the CAFRA X7 and the CAFRA X5. Now, I don't know if I'd be... I'm not even saying I don't know. I know I would not be excited about that if it was just Bombardier that owned it. Out the pipeline of ARC and notice their history chart of even only a year's time, it might bother your strategy kind of thoughts. Let me have a look at. I'm very wary of a dividend stock that can 3x. Are we saying in a year? Ayers Capital Corporation. Oh, mate. I don't know. Over the 5 years, it's up 0.99%. So we're basically flat in the 5 years. And over the last year, it's down 16%. I see what you're looking at. The dividends are 10%. Did they always pay the dividends, though? I don't know. That seems pretty. My flags are going off there. Says stack for end of year. Yeah, my guy. I invested my money into Virgin Galactic and it went down 19%, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Max, I think I must have been there with you, my guy. I think I must have been there with you. It seemed like such a good idea at the time, and now thinking back, why did we invest in something that was space tourism? Yeah. But you know what? The thing is, my guy, again, we need to go through these rocky paths as investors. We need to, when something looks too good to be true, it normally is. And look, we got stung badly there, but I'm hoping we're better investors for it. If they get bought out, I would sell, to be honest. I see them get into a 5 billion market cap in the next 5-10 years. That's strong. That's strong. I like that. Eric from Cafe Wood is really bad. No, people say that she's lost touch. She's the new Jim Cramer. Thing about Cafe, give her time. She's investing in next generation disruptive tech, and that's not gonna play out in the next year, 2 years. I actually think Caffey's time horizon is a lot further than some people believe. So I'd give Caffey a bit of time. I wouldn't class her into Jim Cramer. Misinterpreted Eric. Yeah, no, I don't think he's investing in Eric, my guy. I wouldn't I agree. I'm in agreement. I wouldn't invest in Eric. I have invested in Eric before, but I wouldn't. If you were extremely bullish on Caffey Wood, I think you're best to go into Arc and actually check out what pick she's doing. So I wouldn't follow the whole Arc. I do get what you mean if you're going for a growth strategy. Says Doctor says, end of year, the full scale is on time. I see them at $4. Do you know what? You are a realistic Horizon Aircraft investor. And I really appreciate that, my guy. We're all in the same boat. Are we all like failed Virgin Galactic investors? What if we become like failed eVTOL investors too? I realize my mic is it? I thought my mic was dying. If my mic dies, do let me know. This is like, hey, Liam, what's your average on Archer? $7.42. I thought it was $7.41, but it's $7.42. So yes, I am in a bit of pain too. I'm not in a bit of pain. No, I'm in extreme pain. I'm surely holding on to HOVR is definitely a bit of a long. Do you know what? But then at the same time, where we see eVTOLs going at the moment, and especially with the conflict, we can't see them going into the UAE. And then if they do wait for it to play out with the EIPP, Horizon Aircraft actually ain't that far behind the guys. So yeah. Am I buying under 6? So I spoke about this with the guys. I'm running out of powder. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm more or less fully invested. I have about 3K left on the side, and I said I was more or less using it for an extreme black swan event. Now, extreme black swan event could be happening very soon. If S&P goes below the 200-day moving average, I think we're in for a hell of pain. So, yes, I could deploy some of that, but I don't think if that was what you meant, like that wouldn't be heavy buys of Archer Aviation. So, look, if I could, yeah, but then at the same time, I don't want to overweight myself either, so I wouldn't be reallocating in my portfolio to be jumping into Archer at this stage, if you get me. But no, I do see it as a great value at the moment. See Jernigan bought more Archer today. Congratulations. Matty, no problem, my guy. Well, also I'm Archer and Joby. Don't sleep on QuantumScape. It will change the world, including eVTOLs. Did everyone see they announced today they succeeds in powering a drone with their new batteries? What's their ticker, Max? Do let me know, because that actually sounds quite interesting. Guys, does anyone invest in IonQ? That's another one. The nerd says you're not that bad in the red with 742. It feels like it though, because it doesn't feel like it's only red. It just feels like the thumbnail says, when will it end? When will it end? I'm pretty worried that my mic could die at any point. If my mic dies, I probably will have to call it a day, because I don't have my big mic with me at the moment. My average is 918. Liam, as much as I want to believe you when you say Archer could hit $20, I can't see it this year. More chance of Fernando winning the race for Aston Martin. But you know what, Fernando, I feel sorry for him, yeah. Vibrations in the hands. That's a wild one. $20. Yeah, it is a bit of a stretch now, isn't it? It's starting to really feel like a stretch. A big contract with the Department of War could change things. I think we're just seeing a lot of pain at the moment in the market. I don't think it'd be right for me just to change my price target now. But you can see I'm not pushing. I'm not coming on every video and saying $20. Why don't we do a review in May, June? And if we're still sitting at this sort of level, yeah, I can refine that target for you guys. But I just don't want to be chopping and changing. I don't want to say, look, I'm dropping it to $13, $10, etc. And then next thing flip-flop in May and get a contract and be like, right, here we go. We're going back to 20. If you get me? I'm so into HOVR. I've been watching the Canadian job market and paying attention to see if they're going to go into a recession. My average is 798. Guys, do let me know what your averages are in both Archer and Joby, actually. So 29% says Beta Technologies to cover. 29% says go to other stocks, such as your Quantum, such as your AMPX, such as your Teslas. And 41% says stick to eVTOLs. So I think the crowd have spoken. I think we should stick with eVTOLs. Would you like us to go and do a Rocket Lab podcast, by the way? I know that has been mentioned as well. It'll bounce back. Everything is down right now. When Archer's $30, we're going to wish we bought it at $6. Yeah. Remember the story I told you about Rocket Lab and how it just went and kept going? If you look at Palantir, how it went and kept going. If you look at Robinhood, went and kept going. Yeah, if you're not happy with your positions, it's an ideal time. Where can I get hired to install vertiports? That could be an interesting one. You won't be installing no vertiports with Horizon aircraft, though, because they don't need one. Joby, 807 average since you asked. And Rocket Lab podcast would be cool. Yeah, I could get Francisco on board for a Rocket Lab podcast. I could tap into the Rocket Lab Weekly guys again, see if they'd be interested in the midweek Rocket Lab podcast. Could be nice. I want to make it a little bit different to Rocket Lab Weekly, if you get me. I don't want to step on their toes, and that's why I went down that whole daily route with the live streams before, but I don't know if I'd be committed to doing daily live streams with Rocket Lab again. It was a bit long on it. Archer 643 average. Do you know what? Rowley's winning this. Rowley's winning this massively at 190. Rocket Lab and Redwire. I don't know if I do a Redwire podcast. Matty says, okay, just between us, today I was in a big meeting down in New York City. And just say IBM is going hard into quantum, and I've seen it in person. Love it. Love it. Okay, stays between us. Max, what is Rocket Lab Weekly? Never heard of it. It's run by Dave G, Vincent Bullish, Matt Money, Scott O. Do jump across, have a look. Guys are great. I was on there once. They brought the Rocket Lab Daily Boys across to Rocket Lab Weekly and then it was around then. It was about a week or so later. I moved back to eVTOLs just because at the time we had a good few more Hustle brothers and they were taking on the eVTOL side while I branched across into Rocket Lab. But things change and we move. We're back in eVTOLs. But yeah, I would be open to going back to Rocket Lab. But have I broken the trust with the Rocket Lab guys? I used to be there every single day, be like me with with eVTOL Weekly and just keep doing it, and then all of a sudden go. So I don't know. Have I sailed? Microcaps can get a lot of predatory warrants and other bad things for retail. I'm glad Brandon has come out publicly and said that'll not be the case with them. They're not greedy and dumb. That helps. Big shout out, Anthony. Guys, do jump in, smash that like button if you're here. If you want more live streams like this, do smash that subscribe button. You've seen when I put up a video, I can get 15, 20 subs from a video. I don't get subs from a live stream, but we do get a lot more. It's more of a chat between the lot of us, if you get me. It's nice. I could have done a video today. It would have been extremely negative because if you think about it, everything that's happened across this, not only eVTOL sector, but just the stock market, it's just negative. So I thought, do you know what? Come on. Have a bit of fun. And what, 86 you there between YouTube and X. So yeah, smash that like button, especially if you want more live streams like this. And this is quite open. It's been a while since it's just been me and you guys. So if you want more just one-on-ones like this, do let me know. If you want more with Dylan and Goat Gains as well, do let me know. And yeah, if you want more reviews on different stocks, feel free to jump into the chat. And if you want, do specify if you want myself, if you want Dylan, if you want Goat Gains to review it. I'd be happy. Seeing all this news with Joby and Archer, I love but also hate Horizon. Unless they get a big investment or big partner, something, I feel we won't get any news until they're done to full scale. And I'm full agreement there. Until you had full scale out, yeah, it's just gonna be quiet. And the dividends are consistent. Did they pay out? I didn't see what you said. 10% in dividends just seems like a wild one to me. QUBT and QBTS. We all have a dog in this fight. Okay. Let me take them down and I'll actually do reviews on them. Right, let me have a look here. Dyke says, Liam, thanks for taking the time to go live with us. We learn a lot from each other. And that's what I love. It's not only for you guys to come on and listen to me. I learn from you guys just as much. I'm not a specialist. I genuinely am just a retail investor that's just passionate. And I speak to a lot of people, so it helps. But I'm not a specialist. Well, Saddle, you'd think with oil over 110 that the eVTOL stocks would fly up. Yeah, you have to think about it. The eVTOL stocks, yeah. So with the eVTOLs, yes, they run on electricity, but absolutely everything around the business is around oil. These guys still have to get shipments in, the raw materials, etc. And that is all to do with gas prices, oil, etc. The vehicle runs off electricity, but the whole business, look, oil runs the world. It's sad to say, but oil runs the world. So I can see when oil goes up how the stocks fly through the roof. C. Jernigan says, thank you. No, a big thank you, and thank you for being a member. I really appreciate that. Especially in times like this, when the market's red. It's easy. Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's easy for guys to be members like that or send super chats when it's all going great. Like, you remember any of you guys that were here on Rocket Lab when Rocket Lab smashed through the all-time high and we were live? We had people sending $100 super chats left, right, and center. And I said, judge us in the bad times, not just in the good times, because it's easy to throw $100 here and there because we think we're all rich and thinking that we've done great, but judge us in the bad times. And the fact that we're here when Archer is pulling back, or when Joby is pulling back, not celebrating. Look, we'll be here to celebrate when the stocks fly up, but let's not get carried away when the stocks fly up. Let's judge us on just being here every day. Well, Saddle. When the dollar is down, tech is up. When it's down, oil's up. Yeah, you're a farmer, and in itself gains my respect. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I enjoy it. So I'm not even going to say, like, oh, it's such a hard life, such a hard job. I love it. So I'm living the dream at the moment. I'm going to be honest. At the end of the day, roof over my head, I have the job. And look, we're the biggest eVTOL community here. So when it started, there was hardly any EV. I think Star Trek girl covered Joby, but that was it. There was no Archer people out there. You're starting to get more and more. And look, it's great because the more people that create content around it, it gets a lot more people. But this community is just growing, and it's growing and growing bigger and bigger. So I'm blessed. And look, that's just from, I've said it before, consistency, being here every day, actually just putting in the work. It's not about being a specialist. It's about actually showing up. No one knows anything, but as a group, we can make decisions as each piece of the puzzle makes a clear picture. Yeah, man, I love all your content and keep up as much as I can. I work nights, so I don't always, but you are one of the only ones who look at eVTOLs and they appreciate it. Not a big shout out, my guy. What we really need is for SpaceX to badly fail, and I believe it'll happen with all the merchant grok in SpaceX. When SpaceX goes down, Rocket Lab will climb to new and amazing heights. Yeah, look, I genuinely think as the IPO happens, I think the whole industry is going to influx of money, and then I agree if something major happens with SpaceX, it'll push even higher. I seen talk about Tesla and SpaceX potentially too, so I don't know how that would work. $2,300 in diesel this week, 1,000 more than normal semi-truck. Everything gets more expensive when oil goes up, except stocks. I agree with that. A farmer and an eVTOL warrior. We're an eVTOL family, my guy. I love it. Anthony says we are all patient people for sure. It's a good virtue. Don't sweat the bullshit. Short-term noises. eVTOL investors are marathon runners, not sprinters. I don't look like a marathon runner, my guy, but yeah, I get what you mean. Uber. I used to invest in Uber. How do we feel like Uber is going to play out when Robotaxi comes out? That's an interesting one. And is that where we're starting to get more of a push into the VTOL space? Are they gutted that they sold Uber Air to Joby? Or is Uber Air irrelevant? Elevate OS I'm speaking about. Is that irrelevant? Is it just going to run through the Uber app? Either way, Uber will win. Either way, Joby will win. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think they're with Amazon. Do you know what? We actually seen I'm going to say it again, AMPX. They supplied the batteries for the Amazon drones. I wouldn't bet against that. Does anyone invest in Rivian? Rivian's quite interesting. How badly are they down? 3% over the month. They're up 5% over the 6 months and 38% over the year. Rivian is quite a nice one too. I'm starting to think though, am I too far down this whole electric vehicle route? I don't know. Thanks. Like iron sharpens iron. We help each other collectively. Guys, do smash that like button if you're here. And if you're new here, please, more than ever, smash that subscribe button. It helps me more than you realize. And you know what? Smashing the like button helps me more than you realize. Because it shows YouTube that I'm not just a clown. That is just putting up a random video here and there. It shows that people actually appreciate what you do. And it sends out to more people. And as we say, iron sharpens iron. More brains we can get in here, the better it is for everyone. But you know what? I've been going for an hour and a half now. I think it's 1:45 here. I think it's probably time to call it a day. Do let me know what you think of our recent Archer Aviation podcast. I know quite a few of you haven't seen it yet. I did pull it out quite late last night. I tried to skip over what we covered last night in it. So there is a little bit more information if you want to stick with eVTOLs. I also put out a video on why we should be excited about Archer Aviation. And again, that skips what we spoke about in the whole Archer podcast. Up for work in 4 hours. Time for the lab. It's time for my lab too. Because, yeah, it's late. Yeah, that's pretty late. It is. Surf air mobility with beta. Will it go up? Potentially. I don't know. I don't know how bullish I am on them. They are in half form, so could we get a deal with Archer? Potentially. Anyway, look, guys, my name's Ian, one of the Hustle Brothers. Thank you so much for coming to this market prep where we speak about absolutely everything. We're going to keep this project going forward, but yeah, do jump across to the. Also, when you go across to the Archer podcast, smash the like button on that. I want to get it to 100 likes just to get it all done. All right, guys, until then.